Welcome back to some more King's Quest II Romancing the Stones. It's time to go look for the tiara in the graveyard. Let me see what I can find. Nothing but a couple of ghosts here. Let me try to give them the bracelet that I was just given by Anastasia.
As you hold up the bracelet, the ghosts seem to relax slightly. You wonder if it is now safe to approach them and enter the cemetery.
So I'm going to do as she requested of me and lay the bracelet down on her parents' grave here.
You place the bracelet on the grave. It immediately sinks down into the earth. The ghosts do not respond at first. Then one of them drifts toward you. It nods, almost sadly. The ghost seems to want to say something but appears unable. Its face, though transparent and hazy, is lined with grief and torment. Its facial features waver into focus. The ghost is female.
We understand that our daughter will never be joining us now. No longer do we need wait for her. Now we journey to the realm of the dead, where its lord waits to judge us. Farewell.
You bow your head and cross your heart out of respect. While looking downward, you notice that a beautiful gold ring now lies at your feet.
So that was Anastasia's parents, and it's kind of sad. They were waiting in death for her, waiting for her to die, but now that she's immortal as a vampire, they're moving on. Interesting.
You feel apprehensive about being here.
I'm trying to get the ring. It's like a very specific pixel.
You lift the gold ring from the ground and carefully place it in your pocket.
So now let me start reading some of the graves and try to find the one I have to dig at. If you remember the book, it kind of mentioned something about first, second, and then 00. Let me see if any of the graves have a hint.
Susanna Somnia, 1195 to 1265. He had put her to bed after she'd had supper, but forgot next morning to stir and wake up her.
Plus, it's fun to read some of these gravestones. They have some funny things to say.
Douglas Buckmaster, 995 to 1020. The noise, said he, is far too loud, as he discerned the maddened crowd. The mob broke in, then he did scream, I'd rather this a sight unseen. They strung him up from toe to head, and as for after, enough's been said.
Or some of them can be quite dark like that.
Mary Ann Drinkwater, 1230 to 1266. They had traveled safely for many a day, until crossing a bridge along their way, she lost her balance and fell to her fate. He tried to save her, but it was too late.
And most of these are puns.
Lord Herbert and Lady Lillian, 1646 to 1668. Loving parents of Anastasia, beloved son and daughter-in-law of Count Caldor and Countess Lavidia. Our enemies, be warned. Their untimely deaths shall be avenged. This grave is centrally located within the cemetery. A stone gargoyle rests atop it. You see the name on the headstone and swallow hard. It says, Count Caldor, died 1646. Though you did not think it possible, you suddenly feel a lot colder.
Let's read a few more here.
E. Presley, 35 to 77. There once lived a man who had a great voice, or at least the ladies thought so. Though many have tried to imitate him, there can only be one that we know. If these words ring true, it may certainly be that beneath you assuredly lies the singer who lived and who sang like a king, has indeed met his maker and died.
So there's all those Elvis conspiracy theories laying around. But it turns out that he was buried in a graveyard of vampires. Excellent.
Boris and Olga. There was an old couple named Olga and Stovich, who in truth made quite a nice pair. They lived with each other for many long years, till they wound up in each other's hair. Date of death, 1567. Alfred Chamberlain, 810 to 810. He'd not seen his first sunrise, felt not the warmth of dawn. All who saw him wept and cried. To this world he'd come stillborn.
So that one's kind of sad as well.
Count Christopher Ivir, 1175 to 1200. The young Ivir, his time so near, said he, my dear, lend me your ear. Please do not fear, my life ends here.
So he died in 1200, which is consistent with the hint of first, second, and 00. So let me dig at his grave and see what I can find. Maybe the tiara.
You stop digging when your shovel hits something hard.
Alright, take a look in there.
Nervously, you reach down, open the coffin, and look inside.
There's little bones there. It's quite bony.
You search through the belongings of the deceased. According to the headstone, they belong to a Count Christopher Ivir. After some tentative searching, you find a parchment. It appears to be the last will and testament of Larman Odnarb, healer. This isn't right. You run your eyes over the parchment. It's dated 1200, the same as the date on the headstone. However, the instructions pertaining to his burial were for Larman to be placed near his family at the church's cemetery. Oh dear.
So it looks like the funeral home had a bit of a mix-up here, and it sounds like the tiara might be buried in the church graveyard instead because of this mix-up. So I need to go find Larman's grave. Okay, so let me head out to the church. Talk to my boatman here. Maybe have him ferry me back across.
If I may ask, Sir Boatman, how did the swamp come to be here? Is it natural?
No, the ground you stand upon was once farming land and dwellings for the peasantry.
How did it come to be like this?
A score of years passed after the master died, and a great morass opened up, covering the surrounding land with slime and poisoned water. Once rich and fertile, now it is no longer.
The Count has caused this?
It is believed so, for why else would his own castle be spared?
Ah, thank you, Sir Boatman.
Okay, let me try to ferry myself back across.
You climb back into the decrepit rowboat, and the shrouded ghoul ferries you back across the lake.
Okay. Need to head into the church. Hopefully I don't get lost in the swamp too much. That would not be fun. Alright, still kind of creepy out here during the nights, but that's okay. Go this way. Keep going south a little. Trying to get back to Granny's house, first of all, but let me take this reed.
This water there is not a great...
Actually, you know what? I'll get it somewhere else. I thought I could get a reed here, but maybe not. That's okay. Let me come into Granny's house. Let me actually look under her pillow, because that's where old ladies keep all their secrets. We know that.
You lift the pillow and look beneath it. To your surprise, you discover a small bottle of ointment. A label on the side reads, Wolfbane. Being very careful not to smash it, you take the ointment and put it in your pocket.
So that may definitely be helpful later on. It's time to go to the church, though. Time to go find that grave. I'm gonna follow the road into town, that way I avoid the woods and any sort of dangers that come with that. Alright, see, there's a bunch of wolves back there peering at me with their creepy eyes. That's okay, I'm almost back here to the church. Need to go in.
Your heart beats faster and faster as you push on the handle of the church door. It opens, and you nervously step inside.
There's definitely this weird ritualistic circle on the ground now.
Evidently, someone stands at the center of the symbol, as you can see some hair on that part of the floor.
And there's this journal pretty prominent over here, so let me take that.
You look over the book. It is a journal written by Lowolf, head monk of the Church of Kolyma. Flipping through it, you see a paragraph with a name you recognize.
It is frustrating, as always, dealing with Count Kaldor and his ilk. He is just like his father, perhaps even worse. He insists that Kolyma be pushed forward to enlighten the peasantry. Can he not see that this path leads to ruin? How can the people retain their moral goodness if their minds are filled with knowledge of the wider world and all of its sin?
You turn a few more pages and choose another interesting-looking paragraph.
I'm quite convinced that Kaldor is so blinded by his so-called vision for Kolyma that he cannot see the folly of his intentions, and yet he is the Lord of Kolyma. To publicly refute him would create confusion and anger in the people. I am a man of patience. The greatest gift his grace has granted me, perhaps time will settle this young lord's idealism and grant him sense in the process.
The journal largely contains many entries of similar types and of daily matters of a monk's life. You are about to replace the journal where you found it, but your eye catches a most peculiar passage.
A wonderment was discovered in the forest this night. The spirits of the wild, long thought to be only legend, appeared to us and saw it fit to grant my brethren and I the most blessed of gifts. Such power we now have. Our forms can be abandoned in favor of any other, and I am to be their leader, their most powerful. They are bound to me inextricably. The spirits have made promises of greater things to come for us. Oh, it fills me with such longing, the endless possibilities. What we will achieve with our abilities. I am restless. I must leave for a time. The moon is full, and I feel the urge to join my pack as they run. Perhaps we will hunt, perhaps we will kill. My mind is now clear, and I know the path before us. It is a path that shall lead us to greatness, and it will begin with the destruction of our nemesis. But now I no longer have the patience to write. I must run. I must hunt. I must...
The passage ends abruptly. Though there are many pages left to be written on, it is evident that the final passage was written a number of years ago. How strange. You replace the journal, putting it back where you found it.
So it sounds like the monks in the church here were very dissatisfied with Count Kaldor trying to progress the people of Kolyma forward. They were kind of being patient, and then some spirits gave them the ability to become shapeshifters. So we kind of know what's going on now for the most part.
A large tapestry now adorns the wall behind the altar. The image on the tapestry bears a depiction of some kind of ceremony or ritual. It is somehow reminiscent of the room you are now standing in.
Alright, it is time to go into the graveyard. So let me make sure I find the right grave here.
Rarlap Neven, 985 to 1015. The jester joked his life away until a quip he made one day insulted was a baron's son who had this poor old jester hung.
So I'm looking for the grave of Larman Odnarb, which was mistaken in the Count's graveyard.
Lester Williamson, 1300 to 1345. Here lies a man who feared all bugs, too scared to even lift his rugs. For if he had, he would have found insects that make little sound, with bites so deadly for their size that surely did cause his demise. Bridget O. Troublewater, 1248 to 1299. During the annual house inspection, she spied a mirror and its reflection. For days she lovingly gazed at it, unable to sleep or eat or sit. With the last of her earthly power, there she remained till her final hour. Lyot O'Maleef, 1200 to 1256. She was a lady with strange habits, who as friends kept only rabbits. When time came her hunger due, her friends all wound up in her stew. The other creatures, also bunnies, found this not remotely funny, so their swift revenge they sought. The kitchen in her sleep they brought, heaved her into the large pot, which was, regretfully, much too hot.
That is a messed up little story there.
Larman Odnarb, 1175 to 1200. Dear old Larman was a healer, cured many a deadly fever. One he caught that bitter day, healed not himself and passed away.
So there he is, Larman Odnarb the healer. So let me dig at his grave. And see if I can finally find a tiara.
You stop digging when your shovel hits something hard.
Alright, let me look in there. It's looking quite bony as well.
With bated breath, you open the box. There it is, the tiara. As you retrieve the tiara from its final resting place, you let out a loud, relieved sigh. You feel as if the coming sunrise will be the most glorious sight you will ever behold, considering how close you were to never seeing another again. Now don't delay, you still have to get it back to the castle. You freeze as a wolf's howl sends shivers down your spine. You force yourself to turn and face nothing. Your anxiety must be causing you to hear things.
Okay, let me take this back to the Count. And maybe get the death gem back. Looks like the wolves might be on the prowl, though I need to be careful. Thankfully I have that wolfbane from the old lady's house. Or I guess Countess Lavidia now.
Without warning, a wolf darts out of the dark forest and dashes towards you, and this time it's running directly at you.
Alright, so thankfully, I do have the wolfbane.
You rub the wolfbane ointment all over your skin. Sensing the wolfbane ointment on your skin, the wolf quickly turns and flees back into the forest.
Perfect. So, I may be mistaken about this, but I think you can also use your sword on the wolf.
The wolfbane ointment has worn off.
To fend him off that way. Not entirely sure on that, but I think it is a possibility. Alright, so now I need to make my way back to the swamp. And again, I'm going to need to use that little Bible verse from the page in the Bible to kind of guide me through the swamp. Although I have it memorized from last time, so it's not going to be a big issue. So for me, and again, this is different for every playthrough, so you kind of have to be careful. For me, it's south, and then west, and then north, and then south, then west, and south, and then north, and then south. There we go. And there is the castle in the distance.
Something is wrong here. There is no boat, no boatman, and...
It's not good.
no escape. The monk and his pack have tracked you here, and they clearly intend to do nothing less than rip you to pieces. If you're going to do something, now would be a very good time.
So I need to hatch an escape plan here. I'm going to take this reed.
You tug forcefully at one of the reeds until it finally breaks free. You put it away and carry it with you.
Right. And then I'm going to get my silver needle all the way back from the haystack. I'm going to dip it in the poison swamp.
Very carefully, you bend down and soak the tip of the needle in the foul, toxic water.
Alright, and now I got a bit of a blowgun here. Like I'm some sort of tribal person.
The silver needle fits perfectly into the end of this hollow reed, making a sturdy pea shooter. The coating of deadly poison makes the needle a lethal projectile.
All right. Goodbye, Mr. Wolf. You're done for. Excellent.
I see you have met the Brotherhood of the Pack.
Where were you?
Detained. A man who had assumed your appearance boarded my boat. When we reached the other side, I perceived the flaws of his disguise and dispatched him instantly. The Count has been wary of the Brotherhood of the Pack for many years now. In obtaining what he asked for and ridding this land of their leader, you have served him doubly well this night.
It's time to take the tiara back. Looks like I dispatched the Brotherhood as well.
The shrouded ghoul paddles across the toxic lake to the shore on the other side.
Lots of good things
You
happening.
re-enter the huge wooden doors and quickly make your way to the castle's main dining room. As expected, you find the Count and Countess awaiting you.
You have performed admirably. Not only have you found the tiara I sought, you have rid me and this land of the deceptive and secretive Brotherhood of the Pack. They have committed many atrocities against my family, such as the deaths of our son and daughter-in-law. I have been forced to remain secluded all these years, unable to serve my homeland as I should, to evade the relentless pursuit of wiping out my entire family line.
Is the Brotherhood really gone? Some of those wolves escaped.
The rest of the pack followed the wolves that ambushed you. However, without their leader, they will find themselves as lost in mind as they are now in body, whether human, wolf, or any other form. Their hastened passage through my swamp will not see a return to their den. Of that I can assure you.
You have trapped them all in the swamp? The entire pack?
An endless flight through the mire awaits them. Should my long-stilled heart ever feel pity again, perhaps one day I shall free them.
As you listen to the Count's cold, unforgiving tone, you thank your lucky stars that he no longer sees you as a threat, at least not for the time being.
I release you from my service, dear King. The nearing dawn no longer signifies an uncertain future for you.
You take the death gem. Finally, you have all 3 stones in your possession. You feel a pang of anticipation as you realize that all you need to do now is take them to the door of destiny.
Excellent.
You said you were the former Lord of Kolyma?
Yes.
When did you abdicate?
I didn't, as such. When I became what I am now, ruling this realm lost all meaning to me. All that mattered was the well-being of my dearest treasure.
You flatter me.
It is well deserved. All that mattered to me was her safety. I concerned myself with little else.
And now?
I have recently given thought to. But no, it is a foolish notion to entertain. The people would never accept me as I am now.
Your statue in the town still stands. The people obviously hold you in high regard even after all the years of your absence.
Perhaps. However, my concern right now is the safety of my family. I have taken steps to ensure that they are better protected from our enemies.
Let's see if Lavidia has anything to say.
The Countess has nothing more to say to you at the moment.
Okay, looks like I am done here. So let's go to the Door of Destiny.
I wish you the best, dear King.
A word of advice, King Graham. Once you have found the lady you seek, protect her with all your strength. Never leave her side, and place no importance above that of her well-being. Give your life for hers if it should ever come to that. Love can last an eternity, but your loved one can be lost in an instant. Heed those words, my king, and farewell.
Excellent. Let me get out of here. Pretty cool castle, not gonna lie. Back once more to the ferryman here. I like him. He's nice. He's a good servant.
The boatman has nothing more to say.
A little bit unfriendly, though.
You climb back into the decrepit rowboat, and the shrouded ghoul ferries you back across the lake.
He did what?
Well, it would appear that our Count's loyalty was to be questioned after all. Keldor has decided to leave us, now that he again has his wife at his side.
No one has ever left my service before.
Yes, Father, it is most regrettable.
It is unthinkable!
Yes, Father, it is quite unthinkable.
It is up to you then, Sister Agatha.
Yes, Father, it is, pardon?
You will have to deal with it yourself. If Graham dies abroad, the crown will pass to me. And with it, the item will be known to me at long last.
Father, are you sure? It is an ancient legend.
It does exist, and I will find it. Do you hear me, Agatha? Graham is not to return to Daventry alive.
So that's going to be a problem.
The swamp seems a bit lighter than the last time you were here, and some of the heavy mist has lifted. Day must be dawning.
So that's going to do it for this episode. In the next one, I am going to find the Door of Destiny and see what's on the other side. Thank you guys for watching, and for the next episode, I will meet you back in town. So be sure to leave a like on the video, and see you next time.